Hey guys, this is Sada, a computer teacher at Girls High School, and today we are on the fourth session of HTML course for 9th grades. The title of today is HTML attributes, and let's have a look at the outline of today's lesson. The first thing that we are gonna talk about is HTML attribute definition. Afterwards, we'll talk about kinds of HTML attributes, and then finally we will work on an example that inside which we'll use all the kinds of HTML attributes, and I will give more detail about the usage of them. So we start from title of today, HTML attributes. Let's have a look to the definition of HTML attribute. Then I will give more explanation about that. Okay, HTML attribute. HTML elements can have attributes, and attributes provide additional information about an element. Look, in this definition, which is so important, is what? Additional information. You have to understand that all the elements can have attributes, and attributes, the only thing that attributes do is it provides additional information about an element. Let me give a real example. Suppose that you have got a new friend, and you wanna introduce, or you wanna talk about your new friends to your old friends. So it is absolutely right that when you want to give more information about your new friend to your old friends, you start from talking about the appearance of your new friend. For example, you will say she has curly hair, or she has soft hair. She is tall, or she is short. She is, I don't know, fat, or she is slim, or she is so thin. And like saying these words, you cause until your old friends be able to imagine the exact appearance of your new friend and know her whenever they see her. Okay? So in HTML, it is the same of that. When you want to give more information about an element, you use attributes, and attributes give additional information about an element. By attribute, you can give more changes, or you can bring more changes to an element. You can change totally the appearance of an element. You can make it so beautiful, or sometimes you can make it so awful. And let's point at a very important thing, which says attributes come in name value pair. Like what? Like this one. Always we have first the name of that the name of an attribute, and after that we have to use equal sign. After equal sign, we have to use double quotation mark, and inside double quotation mark we give the value. If you remember, in our previous example, whenever we wanted to change the background, or let me tell you, the color of your web page, or the background color of your web page, you used an attribute which was named what? BG color. Okay, you used BG color, then after BG color you give equal sign. After equal sign you opened double quotation mark, and inside double quotation mark you give the name of your favorite color, like green, like pink, like yellow, like purple, like light blue, and stuff like that. So when I say it comes in name value pair, you will understand. You will remind that it is like this. First step, after name equal sign, after equal sign you have to open double quotation mark, and inside double quotation mark you can give the value. Let's okay, in here we have an example. In this example, as I said, first we have the name. This is href is the name of an attribute for a HTML element like anchor element. Look, this A is taken from anchor, and this element is used always for making a link between two or more than two objects. Don't worry about this, it's only an example. I will give you more information about this interesting tag during this course, but not right now. This element has an attribute which is called href, and after href, as you can see, we have equal sign. After equal sign, we open the double quotation mark, and inside double quotation mark, we give a value. And here, this value is what? The link of Facebook. It means what? It means that we make a link, and when we press on that link which is written, this is a link, Facebook website will be opened. And as I told you, this is the attribute, and let's have a look to this example. As you can see, we have in here another example that this is another tag which is called image. After image, we have a dedicated attribute for image, which is src, which is taken from source. It means where is the source of that image, and after the source, we give the name of that image with its extension. Then we have another attribute which is called alt or alternative, which shows you a text whenever the image is not able to be displayed. Don't worry about this. During this record, I will give you more information about that. So we are done with this part. Then let's go to another title. Kinds of HTML attributes. Look, in HTML, we have two kinds of attributes. The first one is specific attributes. And let's understand about specific attribute. We say the attribute which is dedicated to a particular HTML element and can't be used in all the HTML elements. It is called what? Dedicated attribute or a specific attribute. In a specific attribute, as I told you before, there is a tag which is img. This tag is used for inserting or bringing an image in your web page. This tag has a specific attribute which is called what? src. It means that we can't use this src in h1 tag, in h2 tag. We can't use this src in a tag. Why? Because this is dedicated for this tag. That's why we say specific attributes. And for this tag, we have another specific attribute which is alt. And alt is taken from what? Alternative text. Alternative text does what? For example, you bring an image, and because of some problems, that image is not displayed. So instead of that image, you will have a text. Which says, maybe it says, because of some problems or for some problems, this image is not shown. Okay, let's study about the next kind of attribute, common attribute. The second form of or the second kind of HTML attributes is called common attributes. In common attributes, let's understand something. The attributes which can be used almost in all the HTML elements are called what? Common attributes. Look, in here we have an example. As I told you before in this example, src and alt, these two attributes are dedicated, are specific for this element, for this tag, for this element. But we have two other attributes that we can use them in other elements as well. For giving what? Width, for giving height to an element. Okay, so height and with. These two attributes are used in other elements as well, and they are somehow common attributes. Okay, so yes, now I want to tell you the names of 4 common attributes that we can undoubtedly say they are used in all the elements. They can be used in all the elements. There are some elements that we can't use width, we can't use height, but in all the elements we can use style, we can use name, we can use ID, and we can use class attributes. Okay, now let's have a look to the definition of class. In definition of class, it is said specifies one or many class names for an element. Let me give you more detail about class. Class is an attribute that it enables us to give a class name to an element. And by that class name, we be able to select that element and give CSS style to that element. Okay? What is CSS style? Don't worry, I will tell you in this example. And if you couldn't catch anything, there's no worries. You can wait in our advanced HTML course. You will understand everything about CSS. Just right now you understand that CSS codes are used for beautifying HTML elements. Okay? So once again I say, class attribute enables us to do what? Enables us to give class name for one or more than one elements, and then select those elements by the class name and give them what? CSS style. I will show you it in our example of today. Don't worry. Now we have another attribute, which is what? ID. This ID can also enable us to give ID name to one element and then select that element by that ID name and give that CSS style. So what's the difference between ID and class? The difference between ID and class is this, that one class name can be given to more than one element. Even you can give the same class name for 100 elements, but one ID name can be given only to one element. So we come to the next attribute, which is name. Name attribute, it does a very simple thing. It only gives name to an element, but you will understand its main functionality whenever you study PHP, when you want to connect your web page to a database. When you want to connect your web page to database and take the information of your web page and transfer that to a database, you will understand what exactly the functionality of name is. Now I have to talk about a style. If you remember our previous 2 examples, in there, whenever I wanted to bring changes to an element, I used a style attribute, and in style attribute I typed some codes that they cause the appearance of that element to be totally changed. Okay, so style is another element that it enables us to give inline CSS style code to an element. Now let's go to, yes, let's work on an example. So let's work on an example that in which all the kinds of HTML attributes are used, and I will give you more information that how exactly each of them are used. So let's open our application, which is Sublime Text. Yes, they are the codes that it doesn't belong to us. Let me open another file. So we open another file, okay, and let me close this one. Yes. In this file, the first thing that always we have to write in our HTML web page is what? Doc type. Doc type. And after doc type, you write HTML with small letters. Then, after that, for making HTML file, you have to open the HTML tag, and then you have to close the HTML tag. After that, keep it in your mind always, and forgive me for repeating of this because this is so important. You understand, always and always HTML a web page is made from two parts, which is head and body. So the first part is head. You open the head part and then you close the head part. We'll write the codes of head later, and then the main part of our HTML document is body, and then you have to close the body. After closing body, I told you that I want to show you the four. First of all, let me work on that example, which we had to bring an image. So I want to bring an image. Right now, I tell you about a tag, which is called what? img. This is a tag, but this tag is used for what? For bringing or inserting an image in your web page. As I told you before, this tag has a specific attribute, which is what? Is src. src, and after tag name, we have to, after attribute name, we have to write what? Equal sign. Then we have to open the double quotation mark. And after opening double quotation mark, we have to write what? The name of that image. Let's have a look. Look, right now, I have an image. I have an image. What's the name of this image? img. So let's understand what is the extension of this image. I right click. Then for understanding the extension, we go to properties, and in properties, it says that the type of our image is what? The extension is PNG. So how should we write that? We go to our code, and what was the name of image? img. And dot, what was the extension? PNG. Don't worry about capitalization, because if you write them in small letters or in capital letters, there's no difference. After that, I said there's another attribute which is dedicated to image, and that is alt. This alt gives alternative text for what? For the image. Whenever something happens that image is not displayed, that text will be shown. And for example, we write, for some problems, the image is not displayed. The image is not displayed, and we close. This is only a code which brings an image in your web page. So let's save it. Like always, we save it, and then after saving, we say we determine the location. Then we determine the name. For example, second dot html, never forget this, and we save it. Then we go to our web page, and I want to open it by a web browser. Look, this is my web browser, and in my web browser I have an image. This is my image, but right now my image is displayed. That's why that text is not shown. But if something is wrong with my image, suppose that the name is wrong, and Ctrl S for saving the changes, okay, and it causes my image don't be displayed. So when I go to my web page and I refresh the page, look, right now that text is, because the image is not shown, that text, alternative text, is shown, and this alternative text says what? For some problems, the image is not displayed. Okay, but that if nothing is wrong with our image, Control S for saving the changes, and the image is shown. So do you see any picture? Any text? No, you don't see. There is another tag, another attribute as well, and that attribute is what? That attribute is a title. Title. Look, title. The picture of windows. Look, title does what? Control S for saving the changes. We go to our web page, and right now, do you see that title which we have already written? It was what? The picture of windows. That, do you see that? No. But if this is the what? The cursor. If I bring the cursor on it and sorry. It should be shown. Yes. Now you can see that title, the picture of windows. Title gives a title to your element, and this title here works as the title of your picture. It gives sometimes more information about your picture. Okay, so let's go to our example once again. Look, I said we have four kinds of common attributes. Now we want to work on them. Look, in HTML we have another tag which is called what? Div. This tag is what? This tag is used for making a container. Look, for making a container that contains other elements. Let me show you an example. Pent. In Pent. Look, in wait, Pent. Yes. So, something is wrong. Sorry, I have lost this part. So now I want to show you the meaning of container. Look, this is a this is a container. Why? Because it can contain other things inside itself. Yes, it can contain other things inside itself. So this rectangle is like a container for these four other signs. Look, this is the meaning of container. Now we come to our code. Yes, this is div element, and it is used for making a container. I will show you how to give shape and how to bring changes to this container. This is div container, and just inside it I write this is a container. Okay, this is a container. Control S, and then I go to our web page and I display. Look, do I have any rectangle, any container right now? No. Why? Because by default this container doesn't have any shape. So how can I give a shape to this container? By using some attributes and giving some CSS codes. The first attribute is style. Look, it was an attribute which was used for giving inline CSS code. In here, I give it the first thing that I give it, for example, I give it width, and the width is 400 pixel, and I give it height, and the height is, for example, 200 pixel. Then, but still it's not visible. Why? Because I have to give a background color to my container as well. For example, I give the background color of green. Control S, I go to the web page, I refresh the page. Look, now my container has width, it has height, and it has color. So by what did I bring the changes? By using attribute of style. It was the usage of style attribute. Another attribute. For example, right now the text, look, the text inside this container is which color? It is black. So I want to change the text of the text which is inside this container. I can write that code here, but I want to show you the usage of what? Another attribute which is ID. In ID, I give an ID name. For example, my div. Look, when I write my div in here, inside head part, I have to open another tag which is style. In this style part, then because this is ID, first of all, for selecting this ID name, I have to write what? I have to write hash, and then after this one, I write the name of this ID, which is my div. And after my div, I open the curly brace and close that. In here, I write the code, which changes the font color. Color is what? For example, color is white. Control S, and then we go to our web page. Now you can see it is changed. By what did I change it? By ID. Now another thing, usage of class. I give it another ID, another attribute, which is class. By class, I give it, for example, I say my class name. Okay, look, this is the class name that I give to this div. So my class name. In my class name, I just want to make my div like a circle. So once again, I come to inside this style tag, I come to here and I put dot. Why dot? Because it is class. By dot, I select. Then I write my class name. And I open and close the curly brace. Inside that, I write a code which is used for making rounded the corners of an element, and that is border radius. In border radius, for example, I say for about 40 pixels, it should be rounded. Control S for saving. I go to my web page and I refresh. I go to our web page and I refresh. Now you can see the corners of this div is what? Is rounded. So by working this example, I showed you the usage of 4 attributes. First of all, in here, I showed you the usage of what? Specific or specified attributes, like what? Like alt, like src. In this example, I showed you the usage of common attributes, like what? Like class, like ID, like style, and one thing is remand, and that is what? Usage of name. The name, for example, can be what? My div. But why I'm not using right now div. Why I'm not using right now the name attribute? Because it is so complicated, and right now you can't understand. When you can understand the usage of this attribute, that you understand usage of PHP for connecting your web page, for connecting this web page to a database. Okay, so for today it is enough. I know our example wasn't so beautiful, but just I wanted to show you how to bring image, and I wanted to show you the usage of common attributes and specific attributes. So don't think about the beauty or the ugliness of this web page. For today it's enough, and I hope you could understand whatever I taught you. And let's go to our presentation. Yes, this is the end of our fourth session, and if you have any question, once again I tell you, you can get in touch with me via my via your WhatsApp group, and tell me your question. I will answer that, and have a good day.